Coolrunner and the 360. Man, I haven't seen one of these for at least 6 months. I can go a little longer. I'm not the one to mod the consoles. Check that off the list. What the?
Coolrunner out.
I said mod, not blow up! Hello and welcome back to the VideoGame OR, the series where we pull back the curtain to show the process in repairing and restoring all things gaming. In this episode we'll be demonstrating how to mod a Phat Xbox 360. The procedure is fairly straightforward, only requiring that you have intermediate soldering skills. Links to all the tools and software required to mod a 360 are located in the description down below. So without any further ado, let's begin this procedure. When modding the hardware of any console, it is advised to have some skills in soldering, as the components you'll be working with are fairly small and can break easily, leading to permanent damage to the system. If you don't feel comfortable with modding, either contact a professional or order a pre-modded console. You have been warned. Proceed with caution. For this procedure, you'll need a soldering iron, solder, flux, a Phat Xbox 360, a NAND or JR programmer, the folder containing all of the software and mod files needed, and a Coolrunner RevC mod chip.
I'm Mod Daddy, and screw this bootleg ass mod chip. I'm here to save your console.
To begin, we'll start by prepping the mod chip, so grab that chip like it's a fine piece of ass and strip that bitch from its packaging. Next, attach the chip programming cable to both the Coolrunner and NAND. Then set the slider on the Coolrunner to program and connect the NAND to your PC, where we will flash the timing files. Once on your computer, open JRunner and make sure that it's interfacing with the NAND. If it is, you'll see NAND in the JRunner window. If you don't see NAND, you'll need to install the NAND drivers onto your computer for it to recognize the NAND. In JRunner, go to Advanced, Custom NAND/CR Functions, check XSVF, and locate the timing files folder within the files you downloaded to your computer. The timing files are used to adjust the boot speeds for the Xbox. Choose the RGH12_18 file and click Open. Once the file is selected, click Run and wait until you see Done in the command box within JRunner. Then disconnect the Coolrunner from the NAND and switch it from Program to Normal, and the Slim Flat slider to Phat. Now it's on to the first bit of soldering, so plug in that iron because we're about to be huffing some lead. Open the Phat wires that came with the Coolrunner and tin the 3.3 volt ground and A through D points on the Coolrunner. Solder the Coolrunner wires to the chip as follows. Blue to point D, yellow to point C, orange to point B, green to point A, black to GND or ground, and red to 3.3 volt. Once the wires are soldered on, put the Coolrunner to the side like it's an unwanted child as we shift our focus to the console. Strip the console down like it's a hoe off Craigslist, then grab the NAND wires because we're going to start probing. Flux and tin the following points on the motherboard, then solder the NAND probes as shown in the diagram. Then attach the wires to your NAND and the NAND to your computer because we're about to extract that succulent NAND from the 360. For this you'll need to connect the system to power but not turn it on. Then head over to JRunner and change the reads to 2 and click the Read NAND button. Now we wait as this process can take a while. In the meantime, feel free to do some yoga, or even get in a quick workout.
Doc?
I was just trying to kickstart my day. Once JRunner is finished reading the NAND, click on the Show Working Folder button and make a copy of the 2 NAND dumps. These will be your backups in case this whole operation goes tits up. Once your backups are stored safely with the adult content on your computer, select Glitch 2 in the XE build panel and click the Create ECC button. Once the ECC has been created, click the right ECC button. JRunner will then create a bootable image for Xell. We'll need this to get the CPU key in order to create the modified dashboard for the system. Once the writing process is completed, we'll need a way for the console to boot into Xell, which means it's time for that handy dandy mod chip, so retrieve it from the timeout corner as we're going to be installing it into the system. Remove the piece of paper to expose the adhesive on the bottom of the Coolrunner and attach it to the top of the video out ports. Then solder the ground wire to one of the grounding legs on the video out port. You'll want to attach the 3.3 volt red wire to the point just next to the green NAND X wire. The orange B wire will go on a small pad just next to the HANA chip. This point can be kind of a bitch to solder to as it's very sensitive, so if you're not comfortable with doing it, here's an alternative point you can use. Flip the board over and locate this cluster of resistors and locate it to the left of an X clamp. From that cluster of resistors, look slightly up and to the right, and you will notice a FT2R2 point. If you're going to use this point, you will need to use some of the slim wires, as the current clock point will not reach to the underside of the board. Next, we'll need to feed some wires through to the underside of the board. Take the green and blue wires, then feed them through the hole closest to the Coolrunner next to the South Bridge chip. Make sure to leave some slack, we don't want them to be too tight. Next, take the yellow C wire and feed it through the hole diagonally across from the one with the blue and green wires. Once the wires are through, we'll need to flip the board over and solder in the last 3 wires. For the yellow wire, you're looking for the FT6U1 point located just above the right X clamp. Be sure to clean, flux, and tin the point before soldering the wire on. You may also want to trim some of the excess exposed wire to lower the chances of it shorting. For the green wire, you're looking for a small ball of solder under a resistor under the X clamp. The point in question is shown on your screen now. For the blue wire, just look to the right of the green wire at the end of the X clamp. You should see 2 mounds of solder and a dividing line. The blue wire needs to be soldered to the mound on the left. Once all the wires have been soldered on underneath the board, secure them in place using some quality Dollar Tree electrical tape. For the blue and green wires, you'll want to avoid the clusters of resistors here. And for the yellow wire, you'll want to go in between the 2 chips in the X clamp, kind of in an awkward L shape. Once your wires are in place, it's time to boot the system to get the CPU key from Xell. Once in Xell, you'll be greeted with a lovely blue screen and a bunch of information. The only stuff we're interested in is the CPU key. Either take a picture or write the numbers down, as we'll need to input this into JRunner to make a modified dashboard update. Once you've gathered the CPU key, power the system off and head back to your computer. In JRunner, enter your CPU key under where the NAND sources are, then make sure that Glitch 2 is selected in the Xe build panel. Once all of those are in place, click the Create Xe build image. JRunner will then make a modified dashboard update for you to flash to your console. Once it's completed successfully, connect the 360 to power, but again, don't turn it on. Then, connect the NAND X to both the 360 and your computer, then click on the right NAND button. Once the NAND has been overwritten, disconnect the NAND X and turn the system on. If all went according to plan, you should see the Xbox 360 dashboard begin to boot. Do this a few times to make sure that everything boots correctly. If you have any issues when booting, check your soldering work and placement of the wires beneath the board, as they can be kind of touchy. Once the console is confirmed working, desolder the NAND X wires and button the system back up. Congratulations, you have just modded a Phat Xbox 360. All that's left is to add on some homebrew software and it'll be ready to go. So if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything new from the Video Game OR. And feel free to leave a comment if there's anything in particular you'd like to see from the OR. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next one.